All right,
So
let's do this. This is all great stuff. First of all, Linda, I want to know what shoes you're wearing. Let me see what you got. You got kicked out of the house. What are you wearing?
why, when you ask me, I'm wearing nothing. I have my Under Armour socks on today. Where you can't even see my Under Armour.
That's unusual.
I know. I'm telling you, everything went crazy just as this was happening. And furniture that's being moved out of my house, it's a desk. So I'm like, here are bins, empty it out. Just take everything out. I'll organize it later. And I mean,
So, Steve, you're an actor. Welcome to Movie Reviews and More. This is Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, the Women's Broadcast TV Network, WomenOnTV.tv, IT247 out of Tennessee. First of all, Linda Steele, my really, really good friend. I always love when she comes on. She really wanted to do this show with you, and there's a good reason why. Because, first of all, from the bottom of my heart, and I know from Linda's heart, thank you for your service, because this is really important. We both love anybody who's ever served in the military. It doesn't matter what branch they come from, but also because you are that actor, you are that helicopter pilot, which is very important till these days of what's going on, which is, Linda, why he had to reschedule our show, because he was working. So I can only imagine what you've been going through. But also, what I really love, voiceover actors, because you're not going to have to ever starve ever again to the day you die, because voiceovers is not going out of business. Talk about that, first of all.
Well, you're welcome for the service as well. It was an honor for me to serve. Yeah, the voiceover stuff. Yeah, I think in light of everything with COVID related, working from home is definitely here to stay. I think it's going to be more pronounced as time goes on with everything going on. It's like any other new field, though. You know, it's it's like you can't expect when you start off that it's just going to explode and flourish and you're going to be, you know, the greatest thing since sliced bread. Something you got to work at. There's training involved, you know, getting the right equipment, and then just learning the process, you know. So I just happened to have a wild thought one day and decided to pursue it. You know, saw some YouTube videos, which kind of helped me out through the process. But I bought the equipment, you know, and learned the software, that was a learning curve all in itself. I was able to, I had a Twitter follower who's an author. Her name is Ann Wilmer Lasky. She's out of Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. And she authored a book called The Seasons of Sam Rock. And just a real quick synopsis of that, it's set in Hollywood about the 1930s or 40s era. And basically it follows a private investigator in Hollywood, and he gets hired by a young lady to find her brother. And so in doing so with this, he unravels a bunch of other things, and he ends up being part of the underground for the area or the world in that part. And it's just really intriguing how she writes it. And as you read each chapter, you can just visualize the scene and what's going on. And it really captivated me after I read it. So it's all recorded. I'm working on the editing now, which that's quite the feat right there. So I'm almost hope to be done with that by the end of this month, hopefully, and then get it published through Audible. So that'll be my first audiobook getting done. But voiceover work is fun, but it's one of those things where you just have to keep at it, keep auditioning, and you know, it's just you have to hope for the best. So I haven't quite flourished at it yet, but you know, I'm just starting out. So I am hoping to get more work, and that would be a great asset and benefit for me, just to do voiceover, and as opposed to, you know, being on set, of course, because then there's a bunch of things to deal with COVID and health and all that kind of stuff like that. So
nice.
Linda, I know you're going to ask something. I could just see it coming.
You know, I'm just always so amazed when I get in front of somebody who is a veteran. I have family members that go back to the OSS, I believe, right? That's what is now what we consider the CIA. And so I'm always intrigued. And I know that you don't like to talk about a lot of stuff that goes on. And but what I'm finding really great right now is that you have something that you're really interested in pursuing that is able to kind of put your mind in a different place, which is really important. because I have a lot of friends who suffer from, you know, PTSD, and there are a lot of things that they just can't, you know, seem to shake. And, you know, even when we're having certain conversations, or even with 4th of July that just ended, you know, a lot of my friends don't like the 4th of July. They don't
Sure.
like the sound of explosions. I mean, there are, you know, so these are things that not a lot of people talk about, but because I'm very close to a few, very close, like best friends, Army veteran, and a couple Marines, that I spend the holidays with, it really, you know, it comes up. The subjects come up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I did 4 tours overseas, essentially 2 to Iraq and 2 to Afghanistan, and they were both practically a year long each. So that's a very long time to be away from home. And one thing I learned, that it makes you appreciate how good things really are back here in the U.S. for everyone, as opposed to being in a third world country. I mean, you know, they have a really tough battle, and not to get too political with this, but you know, things over there, we're trying to make some kind of a change. It may be working to a point, but I don't see it happening in the long run. That's just me personally. I mean, things have gotten better, don't get me wrong.
I have heard that. I have heard that.
Yeah. From a personal perspective, though, it's just, you know, I think we're trying to change something there that I don't think is really going to make the change that we're looking for. That's just my personal opinion, of course. But I was mostly air support over there. So, you know, I have great respect for the ground forces going on patrols, whether it's, you know, Pathfinders, infantry, Marines, whatever. You know, to go on a foot patrol and not really knowing if you're going to make it back to the base that day alive or in one piece. I mean, that kind of mental thought, you know, that in itself is just horrendous, you know.
You know what else is amazing, Steve, is, and again, I don't want to get political either, but having people so close to me sacrificing and not knowing if they're coming home every day or making it back to base, like you mentioned. When you actually come here and you hear people bitch, moan, and complain about things, it's really upsetting, because people here don't have a clue how easy we actually have it, how good we actually have it. So when you're here and you see people, you know, going about their boo-hooing about things, you know, like how your mom and dad used to tell you, let me give you something to cry about.
Yeah.
How about, you know what I mean?
I know what you're getting at. Yeah. No, I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we all get together as friends, I mean, and I even have people in the Air Force from back in the 60s. When we all get together as friends, we have a very difficult time dealing with the people that we hear about who are, you know, stomping their feet and pounding their fists about things that are, you know, maybe not as important as some of the real big issues going on in the world.
True. I completely agree with you. After my last tour and I got back, I think, you know, it really bothered me when I would either hear or see people and how they would react to certain things that upset them. And it was really kind of infantile in my opinion, but I just learned to just take it with a grain of salt and move on, because it's not a really change that I can affect personally. And so I have to control my attitude toward it. So I know personally, I mean, I'm always gracious for every day that I am in this country, even though there is some turmoil going on right now with everything, unfortunately. But, you know, this shall pass at some point, hopefully, you know, for the better. Things always get worse before they get better, of course, in the long run. But yeah, we definitely need to be more grateful. I think if people actually, you know, not even so much a day, but spend an hour in that kind of situation or condition, maybe that would shed some light, or like, oh my God, yeah, we really do have it better. But, you know, some people are more stubborn than others. And, you know, the news doesn't really show how it's like over there. It's all just 30 seconds or less tidbits. So you only hear about an explosion or a death. And most people these days, if they're not affiliated with the military, probably could really care less. That's just my opinion too. But yeah, I'm thankful to be here.
It's surreal. So I think that people have a hard time putting themselves there and taking it for what it's worth, because they just don't get it. They don't know somebody that they love that has had to endure anything like that. So it's hard for people to understand it.
Agreed.
Steve, so you're flying helicopters now for what? What are you doing right now when you're not acting, when you're not in your home in the voiceover studio?
I fly for a life flight now. So it's flying a helicopter in service. Flying for life flight is probably the natural transition for most helicopter pilots. A lot of the guys I work with are former military. So it's an understanding, and we just kind of know how each other operates, and it just, we gel, we click pretty well. But it's very, it's humbling, and it's great that I can provide that kind of service, for someone in their time of need. Most of what we do is inter-hospital transfer, so one hospital to a main hospital, 98% of the time, it seems like. But there are those times where you get those calls where you have to go on a scene, whether it's a motor vehicle accident, or it's a motorcycle accident, or someone decided that at 2 o'clock in the morning they thought it would be a good idea to ride an ATV without lights on and no helmet and be intoxicated and think it was going to come out okay. So that happens a lot. So, but it's a very humbling job, but it's also very I can't find the right word, but I enjoy it. I mean, there's some good moments. One in particular, it was a daytime shift, and it was in dead of winter, and a car was going too fast on the road, and it kind of wrapped itself around a telephone pole. We got called to it, and the girl that we airlifted, they said she had a 50-50 chance of surviving, and lo and behold, a year later, though, she made a full recovery. So that's one of those times where it felt good that you were able to be there for them, and that the outcome was good.
What is it about the entertainment world that you find interesting? Because it's not unusual for people to come in for security or to do behind the scene work on location shoots because of where they came from in their field. But it's always, for me, it's always been an honor to talk to them. One of my assistants was she did a tour in Afghanistan and then one in Iraq. So she was in the tank. She was a tank operator. And then so she had head wounds. She would never know. And I met her in 2008, and we're still together. So she's been around with me cross country. And it's one of those things where she has massive headaches. But she loves the world of entertainment because she's allowed to play something else.
Right.
But she's those things where it's always ringing in her ear. You would never know. So she's always shaving her head. But she's still gorgeous, And it's really interesting because she just stand right next to me while doing interviews, and everybody's attention goes to her. And then when she tells them she's in the military, their mouths drop because they would never expect that. But they say, hey, we'd like to put you in this movie. And she's not even interested, but she likes to do interviews. So for you, what was that acting bug that got you? What happened?
Well,
Linda, look at his smile. Something happened, didn't it?
It's kind of a funny story, I guess. This was back in, I want to say 2013, I guess. Actually, no, wait, it was before then. About 2012 or so, I guess. So I was in the process of getting out of the military anyway. It was about my last year out, or 6 months or so. And I just had this wild thought. I'm not sure where it came from, but just had a thought of like, trying to be an actor sounds like an interesting concept or thing to try to get into. Don't ask me where it came from. So I just did some Google research, and I found a acting school near where I lived in Nashville. And I did a weekend workshop, and basically it was just doing cold reads all weekend. And I guess being on that stage in that workshop, and bringing a scene come to life from a movie that I've watched a million times, and being that character, and I don't know, it was just invigorating, exhilarating, I guess you could say. And after 2 days of doing that, I'm like, I would really like to pursue this. But when you're a new struggling actor, obviously, there's no pay, and it's hard to find jobs. So, and I was in the process of getting out, and I had to wait until I made my move, got myself established in my new place, and then was able to, go on and try something more. And I was able to get representation within about 6 months of my moving, which was a great thing. I mean, a lot of people wait a long time to get represented by somebody. So, but yeah, no, it was just a thought, and I went to attend the class, and that's where the acting bug hit me. And every time I'm on set, though, you know, I think for me, actually, you know, when you submit an audition and somebody gives you a callback, to me, that's like, wow, okay, there's an open door right there. I get to try this again. Or if you submit your stuff and they write you back saying, hey, you know, we'd like to, you know, see you take this for us, or blah, blah, blah. And just the notification that they're interested in you, to me, is like probably more important than actually getting booked for the role, because you have a chance to showcase your skills. And whether or not you get the part, I mean, that's pretty much icing on the cake as far as I'm concerned. But just getting to showcase those skills. And I guess to kind of segue this a little bit, I kind of always try to mention this interview I saw with Brian Cranston that he did, and his advice for up and coming actors. And it's basically just this. It's like, you know, you're not going to audition for a job. You're going to audition to showcase your skills in whatever, you know, means, platform you were given, and to deliver your scene, your stuff, the way you interpret it for the character. And once you're done, you know, you just leave and you move on, you forget about it. He said that there's power in that, you know, that you get to showcase, and you may not get the role, which is fine. You may get a different role, and that's great too. But, you know, don't go in there thinking, I got to get this job, because there's so much pressure on you then that it doesn't free you up to be vulnerable. So if you go in there thinking, you know, who cares if I get the job? I just get to be someone else and just get that 30 seconds or a minute. Hey, this is me. This is what I came up with. And he said once he had that thought process, he's been booking work and he's never been busier. But, you know, he lives out in LA, and of course, you know, Breaking Bad made it big for him, and, you know, he's a celebrity now, obviously. So, but I take his thought process to heart now. And yeah, anytime I get a chance to audition, it's like gold for me, and the rest of it is just icing.
Good thing about that is that Brian is a friend. So before he even got Breaking Bad, we were always get together twice a year and just have.
Oh, wow.
And Linda, when it comes to Captain Dale Dye, you'll know who David is. So David trains anybody. He probably even might have trained you on one of the smaller films. He's always been there for Steven Spielberg, but it goes back before that. He's the one that trains anybody for everybody when it comes to any film or TV show. Gray hair, older, established. He's in his 70s now, but we all look up to him because he's the person that goes to. He doesn't care what actor is, whatever. You're going to go through 2 weeks of his training for the realism and everything. And it's always been an honor to talk to him.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I imagine it must be, you know, I have, when somebody comes to me for personal training, they've usually interviewed a couple other trainers as well. And so I feel like I'm auditioning when I'm trying to get somebody to sign up with me for training. So it's the same kind of thing. I'm auditioning. And there was a point in time when I worked for the corporate company that I worked for, the Nationwide Gym, that they would sometimes sell training for really, really cheap. And they would pay trainers $6 an hour to train people who bought training at the front desk, right? And we would be like, well, there were trainers who were like, I'm not working for that. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I was one of the trainers who said, I'll do it, because every hour I get in front of these people, I have that chance to sell them training again. I have, and so they would, you know, sell 6 sessions and you get paid $6 an hour. And I was one of the only trainers in the building that would do it. But I still have some of those clients today. And this is 12 years later, 15 years later. So I had 6 more opportunities to get in front of them to show them that I was the best trainer in the building, that I was the best trainer for them.
And then what happened eventually, Linda?
Well, eventually I took my show on the road. I opened up my own 2 gyms, and, you know, the rest is history. So
Exactly.
So
Well done.
You know, into a great brand. But yeah, it's like when you go into something and you just have to be yourself. You just have to show who you are. And even if I wasn't able to sell training to somebody, they may say, you'd be perfect for my daughter, or you'd be perfect for my neighbor or something. So
Right.
Steve, as you're auditioning, you may not be perfect for the part, but they're always going to remember you. And they're going to say, you know, we have this new part coming up. And remember that guy, what's his name? You know, they're going to remember you. The more people you can get in front of, the better.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
You know, Stephen, I've talked to a lot of actors where they didn't want to do anything. One was Cameron Diaz. She was sick. Any actor that I've talked to who was sick, didn't feel like going, they always got the job. Because it's what you just said was the pressure is off. I
Yeah.
don't do this, and they go out and they always told the story. And the story that they told was like, I didn't want to be here. Or sometimes they brought their friend, and their friend was just offering support to them. And that person who was their friend got the job. It's very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
What do you have coming up? And then Linda, you got any questions coming up for any of your fans?
Somebody wants to know how old you are, Steve.
I just turned 49, actually.
Wow.
Wow, you look good.
Thanks. I feel it, though, that's for sure.
Oh, I'm sure you feel so beat up. That training beats you up, and those tours beat you up.
I'll tell you right now that I was doing fine until about 5 years ago, and now all of a sudden, old age is creeping in. You know, feel it in my bones, my body when I get up in the morning. But you know, I just have to adjust what I do, and I still work out. Try to work out at least every day or every other day, but it's less impact stuff. But I still work out just to stay healthy, and because you know, to be an actor, you got to take care of yourself because you are your product. You are your brand, and you know, it's not. I'm not uncommon for me to work, you know, at least 12 hours a day, if not more. So I know there's long hours in the entertainment industry. That's to me that's a no-brainer. You got to deal with that. But yeah, I try to take care of myself and eat right as best I can, and just take care of myself overall. I mean, if you don't take care of you, then the business will fail.
For sure.
Stephen, I have someone for you. Her name is Linda Steele, not too far from, you know, Ohio.
I know a good trainer.
She'll train you.
I actually train people FaceTime. I train people online. I do other live broadcasts training 3 times a week with fit.live. So I do a lot of FaceTime and Skype calls for training.
I might have to take you up on that because I think I might need to have to redirect how I do my fitness and stuff now.
You know what? Interesting story. My training program actually has a military background. The trainer who trained me, he was a master trainer for the United States government. And
nice.
So he uses a program that he used a program on me 17 years ago that I still use today and I still teach today. And it's really just a balance of your cardiovascular activity, your weight training, and your diet. And when you get those 3 things balanced,
yeah,
great things happen.
I agree. Yeah, the diet I think is the hardest part, especially as you get older. You start getting fat in areas that you didn't want before. So, but you know, unfortunately with the EMS job, sometimes you don't always get to eat properly when you want to. So you kind of have to force yourself to bring, you know, good stuff with you. But
oh yeah,
you don't get to eat as the times you want to eat whenever it's available.
Great tips on what to bring with you that you can carry with you at all times. And in my car or in my bag, I usually have packets of tuna fish. I'll have, you know, things of fruit. I'll have, I mean, it's so funny if you go, and if it's wintertime, I'll have pieces of chicken breast, maybe hard-boiled eggs. So, you know, it's just summertime. I can't keep that in my purse, but
right.
Yeah. So you'd be surprised what you find in my purse sometimes.
Steve, I'll give you your social media links, and then if you have any projects coming up.
Social media links, basically my official website is stevehamm.org. It contains links to all my other social media sites, Twitter and Instagram. As far as other stuff, there is a project that's in the works. It's been in the works for about 2 years now. It's got a military theme to it. Unfortunately, I did sign an NDA with it, so I can't say too much about it. But they're in the process of, there's a small funding issue as well as the whole entire health COVID stuff. So they don't want to press too much forward until they can figure out a way around the whole entire health issue. So it's kind of on hold right now, but you know, it's promising. There was something else I had, but unfortunately that kind of fell through due to people being a little too busy with what they had going on. So I think it got dropped. But that's the nature of this business. Until you're on set for something, there's no guarantees that anything's going to happen or go through. So, but I'm always optimistic. I'm always looking, and I keep putting myself out there. That's the main thing. The more you put yourself out there, the more people get to know you. And my biggest platform, I guess, the main one is Twitter. I'm on that every day, and I try to engage with people as much as possible and just show them, who I am, my true personality. I don't care, whether it's like they only have like 100 followers or someone that's got 20,000. I mean, if you say hello, I'll say hello back. The only thing, if I get a follow request, I do check their profile out, and if it's anything, a lot of political stuff or anything that really doesn't agree with me, then I'm not going to follow back. And I pick and choose the stuff that I engage with, but it's mostly motivational stuff and positivity. Basically, that's my two main things, because I can't stand negativity. Even at my workplace, if there's any negativity, I either avoid it or try to change it for the positive. So, but I will give a shout out to someone on Twitter. Her name is Cynthia Bazin. And she's always daily doing positivity, either podcasts or tweets and all that stuff. And I do the same thing, but I think we have a really good connection on that. So I retweet her stuff and she retweets mine. So, but yeah, she's a really good person. But that's my main thing, is just positivity and motivation. Every day you get up, be thankful you're alive, and just make it the best day you can, no matter what's going on. I mean, my worst day will never compare to what other people are going through, whether it's a serious medical condition or whatever, mental health or anything like that. So I'm always grateful for being healthy, having a great family, being employed, and other people, some are less fortunate. So I never take a day for granted at all.
Linda, what's interesting about that? He sounds almost exactly what you would say. Steve, that's exactly almost what Linda would say.
Yeah, it's like
you guys just found new followers on each other's platforms.
Yeah.
Linda, are you on Twitter?
I don't think I followed you on Twitter yet.
Are you doing your Twitter live right now, Linda? Yeah,
I'll make sure I do that. I'll make sure I do that.
All right, Linda, social media links. We got about 5 minutes.
Okay, my social media links are Linda Steele Fitbod on Instagram, Linda Steele Hot One on Twitter, and on Facebook, Linda Steele Public Figure. Steve, I have a couple people who want to know where you were stationed, and you mentioned it, but I just want to make sure I don't get it wrong. So where were you stationed?
I was stationed? Oh, tons of places. I actually retired out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, though. I spent about 7 years there. I've been at Fort Bragg, been in Germany twice, been in California once when there was a base out there. It was called Fort Ord, but they closed that down.
Okay.
And Fort Hood, Texas was another big one I was at. So, but once 9/11 kicked off, I definitely spent more time overseas, of course.
Yes. And where did you serve again? You mentioned 3 places.
Well, my first overseas tour was in Kosovo. I did 6 months there. And then after, of course, 9/11, it was 2 tours in Iraq and 2 in Afghanistan. And both the Afghanistan, I was in Kandahar.
Yeah, I heard the Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
A couple of friends of mine also were there. So,
Steve, how often do you go to Nashville? You said you were taking classes out of there.
Well, I did a weekend workshop. I don't go there anymore. I try to take some online classes if I can. I also will look on YouTube for people that post, acting videos and whatnot. So it's like casting directors that give information, or it's just information on the audition process and things of that nature. So I do keep busy, but I don't attend anything in person at this time. So if it's virtual, I try to do my best to get it. But my work schedule, a lot of times, it conflicts. And so obviously I had to keep focused on the flying and that sort of thing. Very important job, and you got to keep focused, and you got a lot of people's lives at stake that you got to deal with.
Well, the reason I was asking, because we have 3.7 million views out of Franklin, Tennessee. That's why. So the next time we go there, providing everything is okay, obviously Linda's going to be one of the 6 people that come. I'll make sure I reach out to Eileen and everybody, and then I'll invite you. So even if whenever we do get back to Chicago, we're going to see Linda and Katie O'Reilly. So I'll let you know.
You're coming to my house for that. You're coming to my house when you come here.
Yeah.
Sounds fine.
Yeah. So one last time, Steve, give your social media links again, please.
The main site is stevehamm.org. Give me a second here. I don't always have my other stuff memorized. Just a second. So for Twitter, it's going to be Steve Hamm Actor. And for Instagram, Steve Hamm _actor. So those are the main ones right there.
Okay, and Linda, yours one more time, please.
Linda Steele Fit Bod and Linda Steele Hot One, or just Linda Steele Public Figure.
Hey, all right. So I want to thank Steve. Obviously, thank you for your service, obviously, from both Linda and I, and from a lot of our fans, because that's really, really important. And the reason why I marched in a drum corps, and my Instagram is drum corps, and that's because it came out of the military. A lot of think of the United States Marine Corps band. That's one of our favorite drum corps. So a lot of the people who marched in regular drum corps went into the Marine Corps band. So that's one other thing. So that's a big, huge thing from my background that I always like to promote that way. So if we do go at the end of October to Nashville, I'm going to call you regardless. So, and whenever we get to Chicago, I'm sure Linda will reach out, and I'll reach out on my end too. So that would be an honor and a pleasure to meet you personally. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mine as well. And my hats off and respect to you guys in the Marine Corps. You guys, I mean, it's the discipline that gets shown on a daily basis. I mean, the perfection that gets shown, especially like with the drill team and stuff, it's exemplary. I mean, I'm always captivated by watching those guys perform.
I'm always twirling my rifles.
Me too.
I twirl baseball bats. I picked it up. I'm like, I just start flipping everything around. It's kind of fun.
Right.
All right. So I want to thank everybody. Obviously, so get a chance to go on Steve's website, Steve Hamm, and obviously Linda Steele's, because you can't be disappointed with no matter what Linda's doing. So it's always something fascinating, whether she's in her client or talking to any of her friends. And she hasn't been driving lately, talking to anybody, but that's fascinating too. So anyhow, with all that stuff going on, we will see you. Oh, and if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours, because the world needs it. Right, Steve? Right, Linda?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.